started, I remember, Kapitel Chav Gimel, then the Rebbe's Kapitel, Rebbetzin's Kapitel, and then his Kapitel, and his wife's Kapitel. We always started by saying Tehillim. But then, before we got down to business, I was a formula that I always had to repeat. For he wanted me to say it. I used to have to say, this is a legal call. This is an attorney-client privilege phone call. And if anyone is monitoring this call, you're violating Mr. Rubashkin's constitutional rights. It was a formula. I have it by heart. Today, Baruch Hashem, when he was in the car on the way home from the prison, he called me, and I said, Shalom Martha, this is not a legal call. And let them monitor all they want. You're home, Baruch Hashem. I want to just tell you one story. Because as I said, I had this close. I was at the prison probably 15 times in the last 4 years. There's an attorney log that you have to sign in. Attorneys have a special book to sign in. The one place that attorneys get covered is in prison. That's what I learned. And I used to see that no other attorney for anybody else in that prison came as often as Baruch Hashem. I was able to come to visit him. And I was on the phone with him. We had last year a Maisa that epitomizes the special qualities of this unique and amazing person, and why the Kadosh Baruch Hu did such a great nes for him. Last year, the Gayash New Year's was on Shabbos. Now, every week, Shabbos, Shalom Martha, they had a minyan in the prison. There's a chapel, and the prison chaplain, Rav Richter, the Lubavitcher, would leave a bottle of grape juice for them to make Kiddush Friday night and to make Kiddush Shabbos during the day. Because it was New Year's weekend, there was a much smaller staff that weekend, and so therefore they couldn't have the minyan, because the minyan came from different units and they had to come into the building where the chapel was, and they had to be accompanied by a guard. They didn't have enough guards, so there wasn't a minyan. So Rabbi Richter gave Shalom Martha the bottle of grape juice and said, whoever's in your unit, you can make Kiddush for them at least. So he made Kiddush Friday night and Shabbos, and he tells me, I left over a little. I think he said Wednesday night with the Rebbetzins yard site, and he wanted to have a little to make a l'chaim for the Rebbetzins yard site. That Sunday, one of the other inmates, one of the real inmates, started some trouble. The guards got angry, so they had a lockdown. Lockdown is where they send all the inmates back into their cells. And I guess the same inmate was yelling, saying some very derogatory things to the guards from behind the door. They got really angry. So they said, okay, we're doing a surprise inspection. They go into each of the cells to inspect what's there. They come into Shalom Martha's cell, and they find this bottle of grape juice. And they said, whose is this? He said, come on, I'm glad I have grape juice. No problem. They took the grape juice. They came back about 45 minutes later. They said, get your things, you're going to solitary confinement. Why? They said, you turned this grape juice into mashka, into hooch it's called. I learned a new word, hooch. I don't know if anybody hears that word, hooch. I never heard it. Hooch, which is, they have 3 levels of violations in the prison, and hooch is the most serious level. Hooch and fighting with somebody and having a weapon. Those are the 3 most serious levels of violation. You're going into solitary confinement. Baruch Hashem, within 10 minutes, one of the other from inmates had called his daughter to let us know, and we already did our pa'ula to get him out of the solitary confinement. They kept him there overnight. When I spoke to him the next day, he was very happy because he found a yid in solitary confinement that had never put on tefillin. He was able to put tefillin on. This is not, it's amazing, but there's one exaggeration, there's one guzman in everything that I'm telling you now. He said, Yosef, I got to do another mitzvah. I had a yid with tattoos, and he never put on tefillin, and I got to put tefillin on. Baruch Hashem, Chasei Hashem. Anyway, at that time, we were making a very strong effort, because it was coming to the end of the Obama administration, and we were making a very strong effort to get Obama to issue a commutation. What Trump did today, we were hoping Obama would do. In fact, it would have been much easier if Obama had done it, because it was at the end of his term, and presidents never do what happened today at the beginning of their term. This is unprecedented, mamish unprecedented. Somebody just told me CNN had a banner headline because it's the first pardon, first commutation, and it's in the first year of his sentence, of his term. You're right. So when this happened, this was a big problem. Because we had put together a book. I put together a book with 4 former deputy attorneys general and a former FBI director who were helping us, all pro bono, nobody charging anything, and these are goyim who were helping us because they saw what a terrible injustice this was. And I put together this book of all the good deeds, of all the Ma'asim Tovim of Shalom Martha. That he has 13 commendations. He has letters that he writes every week to yeshivas and to Beis Yaakovs, and they write him back. I had a whole book together that part of the plea we were going to make to Obama is this is a man who's been in prison, then it was 6.5 years. He hasn't even had not only no violations, but not even notice, a warning of a violation. And look at all these good deeds. The prison gives him letters of commendation. He's rugged to be released. Now, all of a sudden, we're facing the possibility of a hooch violation, the third, the highest level of violation. I was very upset. I said, Shalom Martha, this is a disaster. We have to deal with this. We have to get rid of this thing. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know if we should even push Obama if we're going to have this, and they're going to check with the Bureau of Prisons and say, you made hooch. And of course, by the way, he didn't make hooch. This was pure anti-Semitism. Anyway, Shalom Martha, this is one of the very few times he got really angry. He was going to have a hearing 2 weeks later. He got really angry. He said, Chaim Yosef, if I have a problem here, it's only because of your lack of bitachon. Where is your bitachon? And he said this earlier, it's unbelievable. Where is your bitachon? If I have a problem here, it's going to be because of your lack of bitachon. He said, go look at the Rebbe's Sich on Parsha Shmos, Achei Noida Hadavar. Go look at the Rebbe's Sich, which I did. It's a magnificent Sich, unbelievable. Where is your bitachon? Anyway, we did our shtadlus. I don't remember who it was came up with the idea. I said, let's see if we can get a letter to this lieutenant who's going to do the hearing to say that it's possible for grape juice from the air to become mashma. So actually it is possible, it turns out. Anyway, so I called Mutzi Herzog, who lives here in Los Angeles, from Kedem Wines. And I said, Mutzi, I'm calling for the Russians. I must tell all of you. I've probably spoken to several thousand people in the last few years about Shalom Martha, and it's unbelievable. Every time I call, no matter who I call, whether it's a senator, whether it's a gvir, an askin, a rav, a shliach in Argentina, I say, I'm calling for Shalom Rabashkin, and everybody drops everything. I said, Shalom Martha, it's unbelievable. I know it's not me, but I just use your name. Everybody, it's amazing. Unbelievable. Anyway, so this Mutzi Hertz says, my brother Moshe, who runs Kedem, I'll have him call you. He calls me up. 5 minutes later, he calls me up. And I said, can you get us a chemist that can write a letter that can say that it's possible under certain circumstances? He says, I'm going to write the letter myself. He sends me a drafted letter. It was he's a chemist. All sorts of chemical things that I didn't understand, cyclamates and this and that, and it's possible if it's exposed to the air. So we submitted that letter. And 2 weeks later was the hearing, and we wanted an expungement. We wanted it to be wiped out. We wanted it that it should be lo haya v'lo nivra. Rabbi Richter was every person has to have a representative. Rabbi Richter was his representative at this hearing, and the way the story was described to me, the hearing was on a Wednesday. I heard in detail what happened Thursday, because that was the day always of our weekly call. But the lieutenant is turning over the pages. Wow, you haven't even had one warning? He says, yes. So he looks at Rabbi Richter and he says, okay, I'll knock it down from a 3 to a 1. So Rabbi Richter says, no, it's not enough. He pulls out a picture, a photo of the Frierdiker Rebbe, whose yahrzeit it was that day. He says, this is the yahrzeit. He tried to explain to him. He's our leader. You have to expunge this thing. And he hands him the letter. The lieutenant looks at the letter. And he says words that I won't repeat here, but I'll try to describe it. You'll probably know what he said. He looks at this letter and he says, this letter is total nonsense. That wasn't the word he used. He said, but you know what? No one has presented any evidence to me to the contrary.